हमारा यू
Hare Krishna, will begin with our prayers. Jnananjana Chakshurodmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone. We are continuing our discussion from third canto of Srimad Bhagvatam. We are on chapter 25th. The chapter is entitled The Glories of Devotional Service. So far, we have discussed Kapila. He has started instructing Mother Devahuti. She began by telling, I am disgusted with this material sense gratification. Can you please show me the way? I want to come out of this disturbance. Kapil Dev says, yes, I'll teach you Adhyatmic Yoga. And this Adhyatmic Yoga is of three types. Karma, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So amongst these, Kapil Dev begins by describing that in all these paths, mind is the pivot. We have to control the mind. And after describing how mind is the pivot, he starts explaining about the glories of devotional service, glories of the yoga. And in beautiful verses, he describes how bhakti is so very glorious. Nayujyamanaya bhaktya bhagavati akhilatmani sadrishvasti shiva pantha yoginam brahma siddhaye. There is nothing more auspicious than this path of pure devotional service. How to get this path of bhakti? Kapil Dev tells, it will be achieved only by associating with devotees. Prasangam majaram pasham atmanam kavayo vidu saiva sadhushkrito mokshadvaram pavritam. We have a tendency to become attached. Just dovetail that propensity and attach yourself to devotees. How will I identify who are the devotees? So he says, the devotees, they have primary qualities and secondary qualities. First, it describes the secondary qualities. Titikshava, Karunika, Suridas Sarvadehinam, Ajata Shattava Shanta, Sadhava Sadhu Bhushanam. And then he describes the primary quality of a devotee in 22nd and 23rd verses. Mad Ananya Bhavena Bhaktim Kurvanti Drinam Mat Krite Tyakta Karmana Tyakta Swajana Bandhava. They engage in staunch devotional service. And such devotees, they are always absorbed. What do these devotees do? Mat katha, madashraya katha mrishta, shrinavanti kathayanti cha, tapanti vividha stapa, naitan madgata chiltasa. So I'll just share this. Yeah. So that's how he describes the activities of devotees. What activity a devotee does throughout the day. So we'll continue from verse number 25th. In the 24th verse, Kapila Dev, he tells, therefore, O my dear mother, please associate with devotees. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. You have heard this, discuss this pernicious attachment. And 25th verse we are discussing. I'll recite the verse, will not repeat it. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkarna rasayana katha tadajoshanada shvapavarga vartmani shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishyati. Somebody can read the translation.
In the association of pure devotees, discussion of pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is free, and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begins. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So he describes that please don't stop, even if you get liberated, even if you achieve the liberation. The purpose was because Devahuti, she said, I want to get liberated. Kapil Dev says, even if your purpose of liberation is solved, please don't stop there. Because the association of devotees can give you much more than just liberation. So the same association of devotees can bring you to various wonderful levels of devotional service. We'll see the purport. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary says, only by association with devotees, the mind develops attraction. So he says, Shraddha, Rati, Bhakti, Anukramishyati. So four things are, Shraddha, three things are described here. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur describes the stages. How the mind develops attraction for the Lord, the stages are described here. The previous verse mentioned that association should be desired. Previous verse was, please associate with my devotees. Sanga dosha harahite. What will happen? The first thing which will happen is Shraddha will come. And from Satam prasanga, the word used is prasanga. It is not just an ordinary sangha. When one sufficiently, excellently, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes, from excellent association of the devotees, what happens? The stories of my pastimes, bhavanti ritkarna rasayana tatha. It is a very, very important way of associating. It is not an ordinary association. Excellent association means when you really relish the association, when you really hanker for that association, when you are excellent in that association, he says the stories of my pastimes become nectar for the ears. Ritkarna rasayan. Rasayan means nectar. Otherwise, from inferior association, there is only bhajan kriya. You will keep on doing bhajan kriya, but the stories do not become nectar. That is very, very powerful thing. Ordinary association will not help one develop nectar in tatha. But when you really hanker and associate with very, very serious devotees, then it will become nectar. Thus, from the excellent association, the stories cause anarth nivritti. Shraddha, then what will happen? Then gradually the stories will cause nishtha also. These stories become directly realizations of my great qualities. Mama virya samvida, mama virya, satam prasangam, mama virya samvida. Mama virya samvida means they'll become realization. They'll not just remain stories. And then these topics will produce ruchi. They are pleasing to the ears and the heart. And from that taste, what will happen? Joshana, it means taste. From that taste, asakti, bhava, and prema will arise. So the last line, Shraddha, Rati, and Bhakti, in that Shraddha represents asakti, Rati represents bhava, and Bhakti represents prema. So it all happens gradually. So when you have faith in association of devotees, satam prasangam mamavirya samvido, then the stories become nectar. It increases nishtha, and then the nishtha will become asakti. Nishtha will become ruchi. So then it is described. Ruchi is described where the direct realization of my great qualities will produce ruchi. Tat joshanadashu. Joshanat means from that taste, from that ruchi will arise. And from that ruchi, Shraddha, Rati, and Bhakti anukramishyati. Anukramishyati means it follows in the order. And then the Bhakti explained by me now will be preached in the world. So that is how gradually one develops prema just by associating with devotees. So at the stage of nishtha, one develops realization, and then the same association will give you ruchi. We have to understand, even at the stage of nishtha, the devotee does not have ruchi. After entire anarth nivritti is done, and not entire, almost entire anarthas are gone. The devotee comes to the level of nishtha. Even at that stage of nishtha, the devotee does not have ruchi. This is very, very interesting. The devotee still does not have ruchi. But at the stage of nishtha, he practices bhakti with determination. In the stage of anishtita bhajan, at the stage of anarth nivritti, one is at the stage of anishtita bhajan. We will discuss about the stages of anishtita bhajan also. At the stage of nishtha, there is no taste, but there is determined effort to practice bhakti. He is no longer disturbed by the anarthas. Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, these things don't disturb a devotee at the level of nishtha. He continues to practice bhakti with steadiness. Still, taste is not there. At the stage of asakti, then after this, at the stage of ruchi, after nishtha, ruchi comes. At the stage of ruchi, which is awarded by the Lord, we can reach the stage of nishtha by our endeavors. Of course, at every stage, the mercy of the Lord is needed. But the taste is awarded purely by Krishna's grace. However, we may try on our own, we cannot come to the stage of ruchi. It is awarded by the Lord. At the stage of ruchi, a devotee thinks, I like to chant. Just like we tell many times, a devotee goes through various stages. In the beginning, a devotee feels, I am told to chant. बोला है प्रभु जी ने माला करना चाहिए. हम लोग सब वो लेवल पे थे ना कभी तो. प्रभु जी ने बोला है माला करना है. फिर after a few months of chanting, we come to the stage, I have to chant. Chanting करना ही चाहिए. बहुत जरूरी है भाई. And then after a few years of chanting, we reach the stage of, I want to chant. And then after lots of purification, I want to chant is a stage of nishtha. And then ruchi means I like to chant. And prem means I love to chant. So at the stage of ruchi, a devotee likes to chant. He's not doing because bola hai Prabhuji ne, Prabhuji kya bolenge, It's like, new devotees, when they come for program, they tell me sometimes, Prabhuji, हमको मालूम था आप पूछेंगे इसलिए आज माला करके आए हम लोग. So that is the stage. I have to chant. I'm told to chant. बोला है प्रभुजी ने करना ही पड़ेगा नहीं तो पूछ लेते हैं. At the stage of asakti, after ruchi, he comes to the stage of asakti. He no longer thinks I like it. It is not about I like it or not. Krishna likes it. That's why I'm attached to. Asakti means attachment for the beloved. Krishna के लिए जो कृष्ण चाहेंगे, I'm ready to do it. So ruchi means taste for the activity. So there is a difference between ruchi and asakti. Ruchi means taste for the activity. Asakti means attachment for the object of the pleasure. I want to please Krishna. That is a subtle difference between ruchi and asakti. Then he moves to the stage of bhava. So that's how this is all indicated in this verse. And everything is in this verse these stages are driven by something called as endeavor. Shinvata Shraddhaya Nityam Granatascha Swacheshtitam Kalena Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Vishate Ridi. Shinvata Shraddhaya Nityam Granatascha Swacheshtitam. Hearing with faith regularly, applying in life. Swacheshtitam is very important. Swacheshta means perfect endeavor. Yes, please. Yeah, question.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I didn't understand the difference what you said about Asakti and Ruchi. You said there's a minor difference. Can you re-explain it, Prabhuji?
Ruchi means I like to chant. Asakti means Krishna likes it. Krishna likes to hear his names. That is little still left. Of course, Asakti also has Ruchi. The taste for the names is there. But more than I having taste for the names, I want to please Krishna. That is the next level of attachment. So attachment is for the object of pleasure. That is important. Okay. Yes, Mataji. Mitra Binda Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to clarify this, that without Ruchi, how one can chant with such determination, matlab nishtha, one can chant with such, because without taste, how can you get that strong determination?
और जब आप आएंगे तो आपको पता चल जाएगा. You know, we still at this level, now most of us have this determination, right? कुछ भी हो मानो तो करना ही है भाई. Those who are initiated, उनको पूछने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है. सब लोग को पूछने की जरूरत नहीं है. Determination is there, right? Taste तो है नहीं. मतलब I can tell about myself. Taste तो है नहीं, but still कर रहे हैं. मतलब ऐसा कोई दिन नहीं रहेगा कि मेरे को डाउट आएगा आज करूं कि नहीं करूं. पता नहीं यार, कर ठीक है कर लेते हैं चलो. No, it will never happen. That determination is the result of little bit of purification. Because now we have theoretically understood. And of course, that determination also is a mercy of the Lord, which comes when we endeavor. Nothing happens without the mercy of the Lord. You know. So a devotee is really determined. He has some taste which is based on hearing from scriptures and the order of authorities. That taste is not a spontaneous taste. That is not raganuga. That is vaidhi. You know, that is the difference between the taste of a vaidhi bhakta and raganuga bhakta. The taste of a raganuga bhakta is not dependent on किसे कहाँ पे लिखा है, कहाँ पे नहीं लिखा है, कौन बोल रहा है. But for a vaidhi sadhana bhakta, his taste is coming. His taste is basically the manifestation of the intellectual conviction. Our taste is not, spontaneous, right? Our taste is coming because of intellectual convictions. That gives little bit of determination. Whatever may happen, we are intellectually convinced now. This is the path, I have to follow it. So that is the difference between nishtha and ruchi. Ruchi means the taste has come. Nishtha means still taste is not there. Still I am doing it with determination because I know एताम आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठा अध्यासिताम पूर्वतमई महर्षिभिः अहम तरिष्यामि दुरंतपारम तमो मुकुंदांग्र निषेवयैव. When Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas, he chanted this mantra. In this verse also this word nishtha comes. What is the nishtha of a devotee? एताम आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठा. निष्ठा किसमें है? पूर्वतमई महर्षिभिः, the path which is left by the previous acharyas. Usme nishtha hai. I will also cross. Aham tarishyam. Okay? So that drives the sadhana bhakta. So that is how a devotee at the stage of nishtha is. At the stage of anartha nivritti, a devotee goes through 6 phases. We must have discussed earlier also. There are 6 levels and 5 obstacles. Utsahamai, Dhanatarala, Vishaya Sangar, Vyudha Vikalpa, Niyamakshama, and Tarangarangini. These are the 6 stages of Anishtita Bhajan. Utsahamai means sometimes a devotee is very enthusiastic. नए devotee ऐसे रहते हैं. प्रभु तो ऐसा enthusiasm आता है कि लगता है प्रभु जी लगता है pure devotee. मेरे में तो भक्ति है ही नहीं. ये देखो कल का है devotee कितना माला कर रहा है और ऐसा सेवा कर रहा है कि क्या बताएं. और हमको तो लग रहा है कब सेवा खत्म होगी और ये और सेवा मांगते जा रहे हैं. And after 1 week or so, the devotee is missing only. किधर है? पता नहीं है, दिख नहीं रहा बहुत दिन से. That is the utsahamai. Sometimes here, sometimes there. Then next level is Dhana Tarala. Sometimes he does intense things. Sometimes he says, "Arey yaar, humse karo, itne bhi kya chalti hai." Still he's attached to sense gratification, Vishaya Sangar. कभी छोड़ देता है, कभी फिर से इंद्रिय तृप्ति में लग जाता है. Then he comes to the stage which is called as a Vyudha Vikalpa. He is not able to decide which is the best way to practice bhakti. कहाँ पे भक्ति करूं, कैसे भक्ति करूं? The basic confusion is, should I leave everything and join temple? Or should I stay and get married? Should I go to Vrindavan and do my bhajan there? Or should I stay in city and preach here? Should I do this seva or that seva? Always in confusion. वो devotee हमेशा confused रहता है. ये करूं कि वो करूं, इधर जाऊं उधर जाऊं, हमेशा confused रहता है. Then he comes to the level of viewed Niyamakshama. Niyamakshama means now this devotee, he is ahead of all the confusions. He is not attached to sense gratification. He is steady in the practice of bhakti, but he can't increase his level of bhakti. लग रहा है अभी चतुर्मास में सबने बहुत बड़ा मतलब बहुत बार हम लोग लेते हैं ना वाव कुछ चतुर्मास में हम लोग एक्स्ट्रा माल करेंगे या फिर I'll chant so many rounds or I'll read Bhagvatam. कितने दिन टिका? रोज 1 हफ्ते भी नहीं टिक पाया. मैंने तो सोचा था रोज सुबह 4 बजे उठूंगा. एक दिन उठा 4 बजे, उसके बाद तो 4 दिन में उसका नींद निकाला मैंने. So this is called as नियमाक्षमा. अपने नियम को बढ़ा नहीं पा रहा है. And then after some time he is ahead of this also. And he comes to the level of Tarangarangini. Tarangarangini means he is now very steady devotee. The devotee community knows him as a standard of devotion. तो वो लेवल पे क्या होगा? I am such a great devotee, सब लोग दंडवत कर रहे हैं मेरे आगे. लोग बोल रहे हैं प्रभु जी नहीं रहेंगे तो हमारी भक्ति नहीं होगी. What will come? Pride will come. So these are the 6 levels. Apart from that, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes there are 5 another obstacles on the path of anartha nivritti to reach the stage of nishtha. One of first obstacle is called as laya. Laya means जो अभी कुछ लोगों को हो रहा होगा, वीडियो आप तो समझ नहीं सकते हैं. Laya means when you feel sleepy, when you chant, when you hear, बोरिंग लगता है. ठीक है, पता नहीं कब तक ये सब सुनना है, कब तक करना है, कब तक बोलेंगे. It feels boring. That's called as laya. Another is vikshepa. Vikshepa means talking or thinking about something mundane. Even during devotional activity like hearing and chanting, a devotee starts talking about something else, starts finding faults with other devotees. That is called as vikshepa. Third is apratipatti. Apratipatti means अभी लय भी नहीं है. I am alert. मुझे नींद भी नहीं आ रही है. Vikshepa is also not there, but मन नहीं हो रहा है. I have time also, but extra chanting करने का मन ही नहीं, कुछ और करता है. That is called as vikshepa, incapable or disinterested in hearing and chanting. Fourth obstacle is kashaya. Kashaya means the tendency to display the faults of greed, anger, and all the anarthas. They keep coming up. And the fifth is rasaswad. Rasaswad means mind is so attached to sense pleasure, often meditates on sense pleasure, unable to hear and chant with concentration. So these are the various obstacles in the path of anishtita bhajan. So the person at the stage of anartha nivritti doesn't do sadhana because he has no taste and is troubled by anarthas. The person at the stage of nishtha, he has no taste, but still he does it because he is free from the obstacles. Anartha nivritti wala, usko taste nahi hai and he is troubled also. Nishtha, he has no taste and he is not troubled. So therefore, his dedication to the chanting is consistent. And because this person at the stage of Nishtha, he is really serious in his endeavor. Although he has no taste, ruchi nahi hai, taste nahi hai, phir bhi bichara kar raha hai. Then Krishna awards him the taste. That is called as ruchi. So that's how, if we want to go from anartha nivritti to nishtha, the process is endeavor, intense endeavor. And then gradually, by seeing our intense endeavor, Krishna, he rewards pure devotional service. Okay, that is ruchi. He rewards ruchi. Okay, so it was a little elaborate explanation on this verse. So now, in next two verses, Kapila describes that, O mother, your desire for liberation can be achieved by jnana and yoga also, but it will just give liberation and nothing more. That's what he will tell in 26th and 27th verses. Bhaktya pumanajata viraga indriya drishta shrutan madarachana chintaya chattasya yatto grahane yoga yukto yatishyate rijubhir yoga margai. Somebody can read the translation.
Thus, consciously engaged in devotional service, in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification, both in this world and in the next, by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on that path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind.
So Srila Prabhupada and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they explain this verse from different angles. Srila Prabhupada continues the explanation of devotional service here. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur goes into more of the technical explanation, and he describes, having described pure bhakti, now Kapil Dev describes yoga process, Ashtanga yoga. Prabhupada doesn't mention about that. Prabhupada continues the theme of devotional service. So we'll see both. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes this human being, Bhaktya Puman Jat Viraga Indriyat. This human being, he is Jat Viraga, means he develops a distaste for what? For Indriyat, for sense gratification. In this life, Drishta and Shruta, this word comes many times. Drishta and Shruta. Drishta matlab is sansar mein jo dekha hai, indra tripti. Shruta means the sense gratification which is mentioned in the scriptures about the heaven. Wo suna hai khali. So this person, he has developed distaste for sense gratification both in this life and in the next life. वो उसको इधर भी इंद्र तृप्ति नहीं करना है, उसको स्वर्ग भी नहीं जाना है. This is a yogi. And this devotee, this human being, what he does? Mad rachana anuchintaya. He meditates on my pastimes. Prabhupada writes, my activities of creation and so on. My activities of creation and so on. Mad rachana anuchintaya. And then what he does? Chittasya yatto grahane yoga yukto. He does all the effort to control his mind. As he is yoga yukta, chittasya yatto grahane, he is endeavoring to control his mind, and in this way, in future, yatishyate rijubhir yoga margaihi. In future, he will endeavor on the path of Ashtanga Yoga. That's the process of Ashtanga Yoga. Srimad Bhagavatam Thakur writes about this. By being engaged in yoga, by thinking of my pastimes, endeavoring for control of the mind, he will endeavor by the correct path of yoga, made easy because of mixing it with bhakti. And we have heard this many times. Any process without addition of bhakti will not give the result, right? Anyone knows any example about jnana yoga? If it is not mixed with bhakti, it will not give the result. Which example is quoted many times? Jnana without bhakti will not give the result.
Sanat Kumara.
Nahi, an example is given to explain this. Jnana without bhakti will not give the result. Last time also I discussed in the class. 3 शब्द आपको याद करवाए थे मैंने.
That husk.
Beating the
Beating the
empty husk.
स्थूल तुषावघातिना. So it is like beating the empty husk. So here Chakravarti Thakur writes, because of mixing it with bhakti, either Ashtanga Yoga or Jnana Yoga, if bhakti is not there, he will not get the result. So here the word used is bhaktya. Prabhupada, he focuses on this word devotional service. Technically, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually Kapil Dev is explaining Ashtanga Yoga Marg, but even in Ashtanga Yoga Marg, bhakti has to be there. So that is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes. Now, Prabhupada, how he translates this? Bhaktya, by consciously engaged in devotional service, in association, a person develops jata viraga, he develops distaste for what? For indriya, for sense gratification, drishta and shruta, both in the world and the next world. How he develops such detachment? Madarachananu chintaya, by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. And then Prabhupada writes a very interesting line. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. That is Prabhupada's way of translating. All the yoga process gives you mystic powers. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of Ashtanga Yoga. And it will help you control the mind. So that's how Srila Prabhupada, he doesn't go into the technical details anywhere in his purports because he knows. एक बार पढ़ लेगा वही बड़ी बात है. टेक्निकल बताने जाऊंगा तो बुक बंद करके वो पिलो बना के सोएगा उस पर. He knows. Prabhupada has written all the purports with this thought that people of Kali Yuga manda sumanda matayo manda bhagyu patrita. Because that's why he has never ever emphasized the technical details. Srila Prabhupada writes, in all scriptures, the people are encouraged to act in pious way, not in this life, but also in the next, so that they can enjoy there. And then he says, a devotee in association of devotee prefers to contemplate the activities of the Lord, how he created this universe, how he is maintaining it, how the creation dissolves, and how in the spiritual kingdom the Lord's pastimes are going on. Technically, these are the processes of Jnana Yogi or Ashtanga Yogi. He meditates on how this creation is created by the Lord, how he maintains it, how he dissolves it. There are full literatures describing these activities of the Lord, especially Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita. Sincere devotee who associates with the devotees gets the opportunity to hear and contemplate the subject of the pastimes of the Lord. And the result is that he develops distaste. It is a natural path. Any verse which says the process of devotional service brings detachment. Many verses are there. Process of devotional service brings detachment. Naturally, detachment will come. First chapter, first canto, third chapter. or second
वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजकम् जनयति आस्तु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं प्रयत्
Vairagya has to come. Another example is given. Just like when one eats, three things happen together. Hunger decreases, one gets nourished, and one feels satisfied. Tushti, pushti, kshutapayonubhasam. Similarly, in the process of bhakti, three things happen. Bhakti paresha anubhavo virakti anyatra chaishatra kaika kala. The devotional sentiments will increase. One will experience Krishna, Paraisha Anubhav, and Virakti. Detachment will come for sure. Prabhupada writes the same thing. One feels distaste for the so-called happiness in this world and in the heaven. The devotees are simply interested in being transferred to the personal association of Lord. They have no attraction for temporary so-called happiness. That is position of one who is Yoga Yukta. Yoga Yukta means one who is fixed in mystic power, is not disturbed by the allurement of this world. So technically speaking, Yoga Yukta means a person who is steady in the practice of Ashtanga Yoga. Prabhupada is giving a devotional purport here. He is interested in the matters of spiritual understanding or spiritual situation. This sublime situation is very easily attained by the easiest process, Bhakti Yoga. Prabhupada here adds this. This sublime situation, which is mentioned here in the process of Ashtanga Yoga, can be easily achieved by Bhakti Yoga. Rijubhi Yoga Margaihi. Rijubhi means very easy. So Bhakti Yoga is the easiest path available. So then after explaining the path of Ashtanga Yoga, now in 27th verse, he explains, Kapildev explains the path of Jnana Yoga. We'll read the translation. Yes.
Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge and renunciation, and by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotional service and to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one achieves my association in this very life, for I am the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth.
So, in the practice of Ashtanga, in the practice of Jnana, both Bhakti is the secondary element, secondary process. It is not the primary process, either in the process of Jnana or in the process of Ashtanga. Bhakti is the secondary process.
It's Gunibhut Bhakti.
Yes, yes.
Gunibhut, na?
It is Gunibhuta. Jnana Yoga means Bhakti Mishra Jnana. Ashtanga Yoga means Bhakti Mishra Yoga. It is Guni Bhuta. But Bhakti has to be there. So this verse says, Jnana Vairagya Vijrimbhitena. Jnana Vairagya Vijrimbhitena means by the Jnana which is manifested from detachment. Prabhupada gives a devotional purport. We'll see later. We are just seeing the technical understanding which Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives. Jnana, which manifests by detachment, manifested with detachment. How this detachment manifests? Asevayayam. Asevayayam. Prakriter gunanam. Asevayayam means without serving the objects of the material modes. Asevaya. किसकी सेवा नहीं की? The objects of material gunas. Prakritir gunanam. A jnani does not indulge in sense gratification. Simple way to understand this. Because the jnani sees that everything in this world is manifested by the modes. He does not indulge in any of them. And third line is important. Yogena mai arpitaya cha bhaktya. He achieves this because he also adds the process of bhakti yoga there. The secondary process is bhakti. Without bhakti, he will not achieve perfection in jnana also. In this way, what happens? Mam pratyagatmanam ihavarunde. In this way, a person achieves impersonal Brahman. Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma means, Prabhupada writes absolute truth. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes impersonal Brahman. So that is the understanding of this verse. So Prabhupada gives a simple understanding. By not engaging in the service of the modes of the nature, by developing Krishna consciousness, the knowledge and renunciation, and by practicing yoga, one achieves my association in this very life. Mam pratyagatmanam ihavarundhe. Prabhupada makes it very, very simple. No confusion कि भाई करना क्या है. Anywhere you read, we will come to this conclusion only. We have to serve Krishna and achieve the association of Krishna. That is how Srila Prabhupada has presented all the purports, all the verses, so that ultimately there should be no confusion. And in the purport also, Prabhupada emphasizes, just describes the limbs of devotional service only. When one engages in devotional service in 9 limbs of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, he naturally has no opportunity to be engaged in service of the 3 modes. Simple. Bhakti karenge to naturally, you will not be attached, entangled in the modes. Unless one has good engagements in spiritual service, it is not possible to get out of the attachment to material service. So therefore, it is very, very important for a devotee to engage his mind and senses in active seva. Till the time we are not purified, it is very, very important to actively engage the body. Because we are not at that level where we can just sit at one place and chant. And even if we are at that level where one can sit at one place and chant, still a devotee in Gaudiya Sampradaya following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can't sit at one place and chant. He has to go out and preach the message of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada writes, those who are not devotees, they do all the philanthropic work. Yes, these are undoubtedly good works, but because they are pious, what is the result of this pious activity? They'll get chance to do sense gratification in the next life or in this life. But devotional service, it is beyond the boundary of sense gratification. It is completely spiritual. So that's how Srila Prabhupada, he emphasizes the process of devotional service in the purport. So now, after describing 3 paths, he has described from 20, I think, from which verse he started speaking? He started, I think, from 18th verse or something. Adhyatmika Pumsa. Yeah, first he described about Adhyatmik Yoga, and then 16, 17, 18th he described about the mind. And then from 19th verse, he has started describing with 3 paths. He described the glories of Bhakti, how to get Bhakti from devotee, how to identify the devotee, the primary and secondary qualities of a devotee. What the devotees do throughout the day, they chant and hear. And then he describes, just be with them. You will develop Shraddha, Rati, Bhakti, Anukramshyati. After describing all this, he described Ashtanga Yoga, then he described Jnana Yoga, and now, after describing everything, he tells, okay, my mother, now you can choose whatever you want. ना सब बता दिया मैंने. You choose whatever you want. So Devahuti, she is already a devotee. She is supreme devotee of the Lord. She already has chosen Bhakti only. Now in this 28th verse, she says, आपने जो भक्ति बताया ना उसमें कौन सा भक्ति करना है वो बताइए. Devahuti, will recite this verse. Devahuti Ruvacha.
देवहूतिरुवाच
Kachit Tvayuchita Bhakti.
काचित्तयुक्ता भक्तिः
कीदृशी मम गोचरा.
कीदृशी मम गोचरा
यया पदं ते निर्वाणम्.
यया पदं ते
अंजसा वैष्णवा अहम्.
अञ्जसान् वैष्णवा.
On hearing this statement of the Lord, Devahuti inquired, what kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet?
Okay, so she's saying, Kachit Tvai Uchita Bhakti. You told me about bhakti. Which type of bhakti should I perform? Kachit means what type of bhakti? Kidrishi mama gochara. For a person like me, she is thinking, I am in the body of a woman. As Kunti Maharani says, which verse? Anyone remembers the verse where she tells, I am a woman? She says, Tatha Paramhamsana Munina Amalatmana Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham Katham Pashyema Histriya. How can I see? So Devahuti is also thinking, this bhakti is so exalted. I am in the body of a woman. So how to practice that? Which bhakti should I do? Because earlier she was pushing for liberation. No? That's how she started, right? She started क्या था निर्विन्ना नितरान भूमन नसद्इंद्रिय दर्शना. I am disgusted or I want to be free of this. That means I want to be liberated. बस हो गया मुझे निकलना है यहाँ से. That is liberation, that is jnana. Now she has revised her goal. अभी तो भक्ति करना है. आपने भक्ति बताया. Which type of bhakti should I perform? What kind of bhakti? Yaya padam te nirvanam. That I want to practice that bhakti by which anjasa, very easily I can attain the lotus feet of the Lord. Very immediately I can attain the Lord. So now she's asking. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, in verse 19, Kapil Dev mentioned bhakti suitable. But because of hearing the excellence of such bhakti, she mentions, what is possible to know and do for a woman like me, by which I can attain your feet, nirvana? Can you please tell me? And then Prabhupada focuses on this word Kidrishi Mama Gochara. I am a woman. Prabhupada says that there is no bar, anyone can render devotional service, whether one is woman, laborer, merchant. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the 7th chapter, Stri, Striyo Vaishya Tatha Shudra Tepi Yanti Paramgati. Prabhupada is paraphrasing that verse. Devotional service most suitable for different types of devotees is determined and fixed by the mercy of spiritual master. So she's saying, can you please tell me which type of bhakti should I perform? Then she continues in the next verse. Yo yogo bhagavad bano
Yo
Yogo Bhagavadgano
nirvanatmam stayoditaha
Nirvanatmam Sayoditaha
idrisha kati changani
Drisha Pati Changani
yatas tattvavabodhanam.
Yatatattvavabodhanam.
The mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of that yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth that sublime yoga?
So now she's saying, Kidrisho Yah Yoga. She says, Kidrisha. कौन सा योग करना है? Yo yoga, that yoga process which is mentioned by you, Tvayoditaha, the process of bhakti which you have mentioned, उससे क्या होगा मतलब? Bhagavad Bana Nirvanatmams. Bhagavad Bana. Bhagavad Bana means that yoga which is aiming at the Supreme Lord. Bana, Bhagavad Bana. How to practice this? Kidrisha Katicha Angani. What are the limbs of this bhakti which you have mentioned? And Tattva Avabodhanam. Tattva Avabodhanam means how many ways, Katicha Angani, how many ways are there by which one can understand the Tattva of this sublime yoga? So basically, she is asking about the various limbs of devotional service. And then Srila Prabhupada writes, there are different types of mystic yoga processes aiming for different phases. Jnana yoga, Hatha yoga, but Bhakti yoga focuses on 9 different forms. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So Devahuti, she is especially referring to Bhakti yoga. And she wants to know what are the various limbs of Bhakti yoga. Can you please tell me? And then Prabhupada writes, Nirvana Atman is very significant. Unless one accepts the process of devotional service, one cannot end the continuation of material existence. So that's how she is inquiring. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, I should know and perform bhakti which is approved by you. आप कौन सा भक्ति बोल रहे हैं करने के लिए? Please tell me. However, it is said that the inquisitive person knows his own idea and the intelligent person knows others' ideas as well. So she says, I want to know about other paths also. I should also inquire about yoga and jnana. I know now my process is bhakti only, but I want to know कि बाकी लोग क्या करते हैं, so that I am fixed in my path. Bhagavad Bana means the process of yoga aimed like an arrow at the Lord. Prabhupada also writes, what is this Bhagavad Bana? Bhagavad Bana means Bhakti yoga is just like aiming an arrow up to the Supreme Lord. Bhakti yoga system never urges one towards the impersonal Brahman effulgence or to Paramatma. This Bana is so sharp and swift that it goes directly to the Supreme Lord, penetrating the regions of Brahman and Paramatma. So that is the process of Bhakti Yoga. And therefore, she tells in the next verse, I'll just recite the verse. Tad etan me vijanihi yathaham mandadhir hare sukham buddhye durbodham yosha bhavadanukgrahat. Somebody can read the translation.
My
My
dear,
dear son Kapila, after all, I am a woman. It is very difficult for me to understand the absolute truth because my intelligence is not very great. But if you will kindly explain it to me, even though I am not very intelligent, I can understand it and thereby feel transcendental happiness.
So she's saying, oh, I am a woman. Mandadhi hare. Oh Hari, oh my Lord. Can you please tell me etad me vijanihi? Can you please tell this to me? Because I am unintelligent. I am mandadhi. I am a woman. So please tell me in a way, sukham buddhyaya. ऐसे बताइए कि मैं समझ सकूं. Because it is Guru Bodham, बहुत मुश्किल है. It is very difficult to understand. So kindly tell me in a way which I can understand. And without your mercy, it is not possible. Bhavadanugraha. So that's how she is telling, please tell me which type of bhakti should I do. And Prabhupada in the purport describes, he focuses on this word, Bhavad Anugraha. Yasya prasadat Bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadan nagadi kutopi. Without the mercy of the Lord, we cannot understand the Lord. Athapi te deva padambujadvaya prasadaleshanugrihi eva hi. Janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno na chanya ekopi chiram vichinvan. Brahmaji is telling, oh my Lord, Athapi te deva padambujadvaya, until I receive the mercy of your lotus feet, O my Lord. Prasad means a drop of mercy. I cannot understand. That person who has received a drop of your mercy, he can understand you. Otherwise, nobody can understand. So only by the mercy of the Lord, mercy of the devotees of the Lord, one can understand about the Lord. So therefore, she is saying, I am a woman, I am an unintelligent person. Please explain me in a simple way. So that's how she presents herself. So from 31st verse onwards, till 44th verse, Kapil Dev answers the first question. I think we'll stop here. We'll continue next time. Anybody has any questions? Okay, I think there are no questions.
Prabhuji, Jnani is what they practice as a process of Bhakti, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
The Jnani is the Jnana Yoga, there is a Bhakti element. So what they do exactly?
Tapasa brahmacharyena shamena cha damena cha. They do tapasya. They follow brahmacharya. They study about study the Vedas, study the various limbs of scriptures, which are more for impersonal liberation. So these are the things which they do. It is described in the 6th canto, the limbs, tapasa, brahmacharyena, shamena cha, damena cha, dehavad, buddhijam, dhira, shraddhayanvita, the complete words I'm not remembering. So basically, cultivating the knowledge of the Vedas, by which one gets detached from the material world. By seeing the material world in its constituents, just like Rasgulla is very attractive. What if the ingredients of Rasgulla are kept? The maida and the sugar and water, nobody gets attracted to them. So the purpose of Jnana Yoga is to become detached from the world. How to become detached from the world? to resist all the temptations by doing tapasya, brahmacharya, controlling the senses, shamenacha, damenacha, controlling mind, controlling the senses, and cultivating the knowledge. That knowledge is the knowledge of the ingredients of the universe. That is Sankhya. So Sankhya means Jnana Yoga. Ultimately, the process is to become detached from the material world so that one can go to Brahman. Disgusted with the material world. That makes one qualified to enter Brahman. Okay.
Thank you.
Of course, Dhyanis, they also follow part of Ashtanga Yoga. They also meditate on Brahman. So Dhyan and Ashtanga, they are related. It is not that Dhyanis and Ashtanga Yogis, they have a different path. Because ultimately, they both merge in Brahman.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, we can see that here in Devavati has the perfect situation for perfection, right? In today's case, like in Kali Yuga, people have very, very, disturbing conditions and situations to advance in bhakti. So, what is the hope for such people?
Yeah, that's why Kapil Dev is not prescribing Dhyan and Yoga even for his mother. Because anyways, it is very difficult and it will not give the highest result also. So process of bhakti is the easiest and Mahaprabhu has given us the easiest path. So there is lots of hope for us. There is no hope, there is no scope for hopelessness in the path of bhakti because it is meant for the lowest one. That is how the process of bhakti is, especially given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Papi tapi yatachilo hariname uddharilo tarasakshi jagaya madai. So jagaya madai got delivered. So that is a testimony. That is to show how hopeful we should be. However, whoever we may be, the process of bhakti is sufficient to purify us and elevate us to the highest level of consciousness. That is the path of hope, which Mahaprabhu is giving us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai.
Vanchakalpataruvyasya कृपा सिद्धेश्य पैतृणां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो प्रभुपाद की जय।